Blog Talk Radio.
Here we go. This is Thankful Thursdays here on Blog Talk Radio, where K equals kindness at the K factor, where K equals kindness, and the factors are all the things that lead to it. So let's stop and think about that for a second. What is kindness all about? And why do I say the factors are all the things that lead to it? Well, when we talk about kindness, we can mean that in a whole bunch of different ways. So when I first started the show, people were talking about, oh, random acts of kindness. I love random acts of kindness. Okay, well, I do too, but how about if we also talk about intention and intentional kindness? I love it if people can be unconsciously kind, far out groovy. But I don't think we have really quite enough kindness in the world these days. So I'd like to see more of it. So I like to think of all the ways in which we can promote it. When you stop and think about it, what are all the factors that lead to kindness? How about a smile? How about a wink? How about peace sign? How about when once upon a time it was not a problem, a hug? You know, a hug is a magical embrace between people. And I really miss that. That's one of the kindest engagements ever, are the hugs. And I'm grateful, really thankful that I've got at least a few people in my life who I still can hug with because we've got that kind of closeness and have had it all along. Kindness is about the words that you use. So you're thinking something in your mind, and no matter what it is, before you let it come out of your mouth, you are roaming around in your head there thinking, okay, what are the implications of what it is that I'm going to say? And you lead with the intention overtly of kindness. Because when we operate out of a place of kindness, when it's in goodness, you can have anything and everything in this world. Prayers are an awful lot about kindness. Meditation is certainly about kindness because we're taking the time for the self to quiet down, get centered, and get clarity of mind and peace of mind. That's very kind for the self. And quite frankly, it's also kind for everybody who's in your world, who's in your reality. Because when we're out of sorts and we're amped up, we're not at our best. It's when the emotions are really in control and the mind becomes secondary. It's like the emotions are putting the mind into a side pocket somewhere or an off place somewhere where we don't have the kind of access to it that we always need. So random acts of kindness, okay, fabulous. But really intentional kindness, when we get up in the morning and we say, here's what I really want to do. And we have a whole long list of kind and lovely and wonderful things we want to do for ourselves and then for others. Like I get up in the morning, I have a pet fish, which I think is really funny. It's a little beta fish. Some people call them little Siamese fighting fishes. I don't know. There's nobody in his little bowl, so there's nobody for him to fight with. And he swims over to the side of the bowl to see me, and I put my hand up to the glass, and it's really cute because he sort of rubs up against it. I'm on the outside of the glass, but he rubs up against it, and I think, what a sweetheart fish. That's really kind of him. And then he, of course, thinks I'm kind because I'm there and I feed him these little bitty tiny pellets, and then he flutters. He has beautiful fins. I always want to call them wings because they seem like wings. And he swims around for me, and it's really pretty, and it's very calming. And it might sound funny or silly, and it is funny and silly. That's part of the kindness as well. You know, comedy, unless it's sardonic, is really kind. When we can make somebody laugh, when we ourselves can enjoy the laughter, that is spectacular. I love laughing. And I learned it at such an early age. My father was so funny, and my mother was just darling and sweet, and he made her laugh, and he made us laugh, and he was playful and lighthearted, and my mother had her own way, not quite as frivolous, but she was lovely and loving, and that was really kind. You know, the ways in which we go through our life, we don't often take time to think about all the things that are really kind. Let's talk about road rage, and let's turn it on its ear and call it road kindness. Now, I don't think that there's a single one of us that haven't gone out there in our car, in our automobile of some sort, and got gritchy because people weren't getting out of our way, because people are driving wrong. I have done so many seminars from behind my steering wheel telling people the appropriate ways to behave. Thank goodness I'm not on a megaphone. And I've never, ever given anybody the index finger, or rather the middle finger, but I have given them the index finger and shaken my index finger at them, scolding them. And that's not kind. And I've also given them the mitten, just took my whole hand and swirled it around and ta-da, hey, get out of my way. That's not kind either. We never know what the other person's story is. Maybe they don't feel good. Maybe they're really sad. Maybe something awful happened to them. I remember one day I got pulled over by the police. I was incredibly sad. Someone who I loved dearly had just died, and I got pulled over. I went out for a ride at night, and it was about 9:30, and it was dark, and it was winter. And I didn't even realize it, but I was crying so hard that I was driving like at idle speed in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. And a police officer comes and pulls me over, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I don't know." Well, that's not what an officer wants to hear. And he said, "What's going on?" And I said, I'm just heartbroken and sad, and I don't know, I needed to just get out and drive." And he said, "Well, how about if you go home and you sit in your driveway or something? But you're not doing yourself any favors out here, because it's not safe, because you're not in your mind engaged. You're adrift." And he was right. And, that was very kind of him to do that for me, because he probably saved either my life or somebody else's. Right now, I'm being kind to myself. I'm drinking water while my throat seems to be a little dry. The ways in which we do self-care is the ultimate kindness. And I am thankful. This is Thankful Thursday. I'm thankful for all the acts of kindness that I know how to do, and that others know how to do, that we extend to one another. And I feel extreme gratitude for that. I think especially here in 2020, we don't really have the luxury of taking anything for granted. There was a book that was written, and I remember reading it maybe 25, 30 years ago or longer. And it's called "You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought." And wow, is that true? I would like for everybody to have a copy of that right now, today, here in 2020. We need that. We cannot afford the luxury of a negative thought. It takes us nowhere productive. As a matter of fact, I would love to have enough copies to be able to distribute them to everybody in the United States of America. I would love to be able to walk into Washington, D.C. and go to the halls of Congress and stand before them and have somebody distribute a copy to everybody in there. Because there's so much negative thinking. There's so much animosity. People are suspicious and hateful and fighting and arguing and defending and offending, and it doesn't get us anywhere productive. All you have to do is look at the state of our nation right now, and you can see that. So what am I thankful for in the midst of that? I'm thankful for all that agony and angst in the midst of it, because it calls me out to, on my behalf, really practice much more intensive thankfulness and not forget every single thing that I am so thankful for, and then invite others to do the same beside me. Because, friends, right now, we're living in the contrast of where it is we long to be. We watch the news and say, no, no, we don't want to be there. We want to be over here in this place of peace and brotherhood and humanity that is loving and kind and grateful. And if we lead the way with that line of thinking, there's no way that it doesn't end up sincerely and genuinely healthy and good. And that's what we need in the world today. So while you're sitting here and you're watching or you're listening, let me ask you, can you very quickly in your head think of 3 things that you're really thankful for? Go ahead. Bing bong, bing bong. Do you have 3? Shout them out loud. Maybe I'll get to hear you. I'm sorry, what was that? You said your dog? Oh, you said your mom? Oh, you said your husband? That's gorgeous. Oh, wait, I hear more coming at me. Your sister, your friends, your education, your neighborhood, your home, your bed, your couch, your computer, your ability to hear, your hair, your eyesight, your ability to speak, the love relationships that you have in your life, your state of health, the people who take really good care of you, your care providers, every educator that you've ever had who has shown you the way to really exercise your mind in the subject matter to which they were teaching. We have a tremendous amount to be thankful for. I am thankful that when I was a little girl, I lived in a wonderful house with my mommy and my daddy and my sister and my brother, and for a while Grandma was there. There was another stint where my other grandfather was there. And I learned how to get barefoot and go out in the backyard and walk on the grass and enjoy and love every second of being out on the lawn, and then walking a little bit over into the garden and being able to put my feet in the dirt. That was really fun. And I'm thankful for those kinds of memories. I'm thankful that my parents would grow some vegetables, and there were fresh tomatoes and green beans and radishes and carrots. And my dad would come out and we would pick some and eat them right there in the garden. I'm glad that I learned about gardening from a really young age because I love it. And I always, always, always have a garden. I have an indoor garden and I managed to have an outdoor garden. And it brings me so much happiness because when I touch the plants and I am breathing the fresh air, I am thinking to myself, this is nature and this is our creation and this is amazing and this is healthy. And this will feed every cell in my body and help me be more in tune with my ultimate well-being. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful every time I drink water. And that might sound funny. But there are people in the world who don't have water. They don't have clean water, and they're really sick as a result of it. I have always had water. I'm really grateful for that. And I celebrate water by having beautiful glasses, and they don't need to be expensive. Some of them are things I've inherited and had with me my entire life, and some of them are acquisitions. I'm holding here in my hand right now a handmade glass, which I absolutely love. It's got all kinds of texture on the surface of it, and I look at it and it's a beautiful green, kind of like a jade green. And I love that. It's pretty to my eyes and it makes me feel happy. How can I not be thankful for that? Anything that brings us happiness feels great. I'm thankful for the sun. It feels wonderful and warm on my skin, and it adds a tone to my face and to my skin that takes me from being very pink as a Caucasian to having a wonderful color that to me looks healthy, makes me think summer. And then I have a million memories of summers and summer play and summer playtime. And actually, outdoor theater in the summer, outdoor music in the summer, and picnics and beaches and pools and barbecues and walks and bike rides and camping. Do you see how I've been talking and stringing all these things together? I invite you to engage in this exercise because every time we take control of our mind and we do an exercise, and that's what it's been so far on this episode today. I am introducing you to an exercise for mind control, for your mind control, and an exercise in thankfulness, which is an exercise in gratitude and appreciation. And guess what? We have study after study of actual photography through PET scans, PET scans, and MRIs, where we can see the brain activity depending on what it is that you're doing. And when you engage in gratitude and appreciation and thankfulness, you're lighting up your brain on the inside and you're doing wonderful things for your circulation. Our brain is our powerhouse. And when we control our thoughts, we're controlling our brain, we're influencing what our perspective is, and we're walking into what it is that we want to believe. I happen to want to believe in humanity and goodness and kindness and health and well-being and mind, body, medicine and positive outcomes and productivity and success of every human being. So when I do this and I talk that way, I hear myself talking that way and I start really thinking that way, and it shifts my perspective and it upshifts my attitudes into a really golden, holy, sacred place where I am much more tolerant of myself and of others. I am more calm. I am more patient. I am more loving and tender and genteel and elegant and sweet. And I like that. It all makes me happy. And it'll make you happy too. So when you do that, you are influencing your emotions. So we really have three brains. We have one that's here inside of our skull. We have here one under our sternum and our chest. And we have one in our gut. The one in our chest is about our emotions. The one in our gut is about our intuition. You know, that gut feeling. And the one in our brain is all about our intellectual capabilities and our cognitions. And the three are inextricably linked. And when we allow the linkage to be directed by us, that's when the magic happens. For every thought we have an emotion paired with it. And those pairings release neurotransmitters throughout our body that tell our body what to do on a cellular level, every organ, every tissue. I'm talking about getting down to the absolute core of our health and well-being. You know, integrative medicine and functional medicine are approaches in healthcare that are looking for root causes and looking for ways to take all different kinds of practices and blend them for our benefit, for our wellness. We want to focus on wellness, not sickness. We want to focus on health, not feeling crummy. And we want to focus on life, not infirmment. Being infirmed means you just feel lousy. And we all have an absolute craving to feel really good. So I'm looking here for a book that I had. Well, it's around here somewhere. There is a wonderful prayer that was written by Saint Francis Assisi, and it's called "Make Me a Channel of Your Peace." And the words I don't recall exactly. Maybe I do. But the theme of it is that where there is trouble and despair, let me be a channel of your peace. And where there is darkness, let me be the light. So for everything that's a problem, essentially, let me be a part of the solution or the solution. And that is what I want for each one of us. For each one of us to know how to do that for ourselves and then do that for one another. Because if we take that path, we then do it for the world. Now, imagine for a moment if every single Thursday at this hour, every single week, everyone in America dialed in and did a Thankful Thursday. Do you think we'd change the energy? Everybody would pause everything that they're doing, no matter what they're doing, no matter where they're at. And we would spend the hour or the half hour together in gratitude and thankfulness. I think it would be absolutely spectacular. So what I'm going to do is thank you for being here with me today. And I'm going to invite you to come back again and again and again. And if you would like to be on this show with me, reach out and maybe we'll line up an interview. There's all kinds of ways that we can make good things happen. On that note, I am going to say a tout à l'heure, which is see you later. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. This is your host here on Blog Talk Radio for the K Factor, where K equals kindness and the factors are all the things that lead to it. And today's show is called Thankful Thursdays. Thank you very much.